Well, howdy folks, welcome to LTJ's channel. You might be saying, long time no video. Well, here's the video. So this is continuing in the vein of my last two longer lessons. This is about the essential steps that every self-learning musician must take at some point to get on the inside of understanding music which plays in their head. Okay, so if you are the type of musician or beginner, late beginner, who goes to these internet channels where they show you the 4 chords and the down up down strum pattern for each song, but they never talk about exactly why these chords and why this strum pattern, then you are perhaps stuck in a rut. So to move past that, you have to start finding the music that's in your head on your instrument. Okay, and my hope is that some of these initial lessons will get you doing that. Okay, so working with a very popular song from Manitoba, Red River Valley today, and working from the C major chord. Again, this is a style I've shown you before. This is called the bass melody style, or Mother Mabel Carter style. She typically did it with a thumb pick. I'm doing it with a flat pick. Okay, it's slightly more articulate, and I think you can see it much better. Okay, so this is, we'll see how the melody, a very popular melody, moves up and down the C major scale, and how you can find that like you can find the melody of any other song. So let's start in fact with a different song and see how what are the common patterns, for example, for common songs. So this is the chorus of Jingle Bells. Okay, Jingle Bells, jingle all the way, open sleigh. So what's happening over there? The melody is starting on the 3rd note of the whatever the major scale is. Over here it's a C. So it doesn't make a difference what the absolute scale is, unless you have perfect pitch. Most of the time what matters is, which degree is the melody on and how it's moving up and down from that. So this is the essential rule that melodies typically, or not essential, typically, melodies will typically start on a chord tone. It will typically come to rest on a chord tone. In between, it will move through tones which are within a chord and within the whole major or minor scale that you are based in. So in Jingle Bells chorus, it starts with the 3rd note. Jingle bell, jingle bell, goes to 5, comes back from the root 5. To the 4, hear that? So you can see the pattern. So the whole thing was between the 1st and the 5th notes, started on the 3rd note of the scale, the 3rd degree, or the major 3rd or natural 3rd, and went up and down exactly in those things. So you can sense where a chord change is called for. Typically when the melody is moving very fast, like in just moving from one note per beat, most likely at that time there's no chord change called for. You can change per beat, that's up to you. People in jazz do that, people in other things also do that. But most of the time a major chord change is called for only when the melody comes to rest on a note which is not within your 1st chord. So if it's rest, the melody stops on the 3 or the 5 or the 1, most likely you're still in the C chord. But if it comes to stop on the 4 or the 2 or the 6, very often you would have moved on to a different chord. And then for that you kind of need to know which chords really have those notes. So you can look at the options of what chords might harmonize that note. So let's go back to the melody again of Jingle Bells chorus. So over here, no need for change. In between, we went to Jing, which is the fifth note or the G. You could play a G chord over there, but it's not called for. You can do everything like this. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. No change in chord. Oh, what fun! So when the melody goes on to the fourth note, which is the F, oh, what fun! And comes back to the three. So there we are back. Three is part of the one chord. It again finishes on the 5 and stays there for a long while. And you can see that if you've heard the song, of course, you know that there's more tension over there. So that more tension suggests that the chord is not C, which also does have the G note. Again, so let's go back to this. Or you can do that. Doesn't sound right because that phrase ends in the maximum tension, which is typically on the 5 chord, which now calls for a resolution back to this, which is where the melody of the next part will start. So again, look at this, how just by following a melody which is already in your head, looking at the standard formulae that melodies tend to follow, they will start on the 1 or the 3 or the 5 of your root chord, and from that they will chart their way up or down. Okay, so let's look at the same thing, and then you can superimpose chords wherever there's a stop in the melody on a note which seems to be away from the 1, 3 or 5. Sometimes on the 5 you might need the 5 chord because you know there's more tension rather than the resolution of one chord. So let's continue the same thing now with the Red River Valley. So the melody now starts on the root rather than on the Jingle Bells it was. So from 3 to 5 and then back up to 3. In this case, in Red River Valley, it is from the 1 to the 3. From this valley this way you are going. That's the song. So that melody is between the 1 to the 3 and then back from the 2 to the 1. So again, everything is very easily accommodated within the one chord. That 2 comes for just one beat, so it doesn't need a different chord. What's the next part of the melody? We will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile. So it goes up to 5 and then diatonically through all the song, all the notes comes back to the 2. Everything on the C. So the chord has now changed to maximum tension and it's finishing on the 2. Now again, I said that before, on the 2 most likely you are going to be on the 5 chord, where the 2 is the 5 of the 5, 5th note of the 5th chord. Okay. Now the melody is stopping on the 4, so that's the root now of the 4th chord. Back to and the cowboy used to. So basically everything is you can guess all the chords by looking at where the melody is stopping. When it stops on the 4, very often you're on the 4 chord. When it stops on the 2, very often you're on the the 5th chord, with that note being the 5th note of the 5th chord. So G, B, D. That's it for now. So if any of that helps solve the puzzle for you, I'm glad. You can ask some questions and I will keep on posting, songs along these lines, because this is like the single essential thing that needs to click for every musician in understanding melody and harmony. I've been talking about the rhythm part also in the last two tutorials, and I will come back to that. So with rhythm also, you have to get beyond somebody having to deliver exactly what to do, up and down and down and up. That should start coming naturally once you start understanding the basic maths behind rhythms. So there's some basic maths behind melodies, behind rhythms, that everybody, you don't need a genius IQ to figure that out. Just stop being scared of it. Don't call it theory, just think of it as conceptualization. So we have the memory of all music, all great music that we have heard all through our lives, in one part of the brain. Other part of the brain has to come to conceptualize it so it can grasp it, cognize it, so that you can, every time you hear a tune in your head, you can start guessing where it might, what kind of patterns, mathematical patterns it might make on any instrument that you might be playing. So I play instruments which are very different tuning, and each one requires me to be able to visualize, hey, the relationship is basically first to the third to the fourth to the fifth to the second, rather than having to think about exactly what the named note is, whether it's a F sharp or a G flat. Okay, so ciao for now. Hopefully this has been of some help to you. Longer video this time. Long Tall J signing off.